I'm going to show you how I made $19,900 trading AMD. So if you come over here to my chart, this is one of my favorite trades I've ever made. Guys, I've been doing this for 21 years at this point. Wow. This is one of my favorite trades I've ever made. A couple of reasons. One, the setup was really nice. Two, it's AMD. Who thinks, and what I did was short this one. So who thinks that you could short AMD and make 40%? It's just something that doesn't typically happen. And it can be a little bit scary. It can be scary to go after one of these big guys and go short on them because the volatility to the upside can be very, very big. Think about it. If there was some news that came out about AI or there was some news that came out about chips in China, this thing could just spike on you all of a sudden. But I was very confident in this one, and I'm going to show you. So if we look here at my chart, this is going back to January of 2022. And the reason I'm taking you this far back is I want to show you guys, there are not a lot, like I spoke about in a different video and on my live streams. This market right now is a little bit volatile. With interest rates where they are, with tech earnings where they are, maybe softening a little bit, you can't really get good runs going and good long-term trades. But I want to show you that it's possible. And it's not long ago that it was very possible to go long or short for a very long period of time. This was actually a 7-month trade for me. And this was AMD. It kept the same trend for 7 months. So let's look at this. So this was January 5th. This was one of the first trading days of the year. You notice that you had this engulfing candlestick. But more importantly than the engulfing candlestick, why did this stick out to me? Well, it stuck out to me for one major reason. Look at this ugly face pattern that we have here. Guys, we talk about the ugly face pattern all the time. And if you're watching this video for the first time, you're probably saying, what the heck is an ugly face? Well, an ugly face is just that. It's a really ugly face that looks like on a chart. Now, so the stock price comes up and it comes back down. And as this is starting to come back down, you're saying, all right, I'm looking for the other eyeball or the other side of the face to hit that same level and then break down. And after that breakdown happens, typically you're going to get the price to fall below the base of the face. So let me draw it one more time so it just looks a little bit cleaner. So here's your eye. You have that stock price run up. You have the pullback that occurs. You're starting to kind of get this jagged mouth in here. What you're looking for is the stock price to go up and hit that same level it basically did there. And then after that happens, you're going to get that fall going lower than the mouth, which would be right in here. And that is exactly what you saw with AMD. So I recognize that that was kind of developing and happening. It was January 5th that I got my engulfing candlestick, coupled with being in the sweet spot for 3 days, coupled with good volume that was coming into the stock. And now we are off to the races. Now you kind of put it on autopilot. That is the great thing about long-term trading. Once you're in something, it kind of just put it on cruise control and let it roll. So you're not exiting this, or I decided I was not going to exit this until my red line crossed over yellow. Like if it went like that, it did not do that. And we got down here into the oversold area. And once you're in the oversold area, this is my favorite part of the trade because the hard part is over. You want a high probability. The reason that we sell short or go long in the sweet spot is we want a high probability to make money. Well, what does that mean? Well, trading is all about probabilities, but you're not going to win every time. You're going to have losses. You just have to accept that. But you want to give yourself the highest probability to make money. And that's what you do when you buy or sell stocks short going through the sweet spot. You're giving yourself the highest probability to make money. Once you get through that area and it comes into this oversold area below this 32% line, this horizontal line, you know that you are just as this thing goes sideways like this and stays below 32%, what happens to the stock price? Well, it just keeps going lower and lower and lower. And the decision point, this is something, the great thing about this, guys, if you're somebody that works every day or you don't have an interest in checking your chart multiple times a day. The great thing about long-term trading is that you can just check it once a day. As long as your red is under yellow, and when you're short, just let it keep going. No reason to exit. Enter your position and just let it go. So this was January 5th. My exit point came when, well, let me show you one thing real quick. So right in here, we just talked about the red line going above the red horizontal line. Well, that didn't happen. This is where traders end up not making money or making less money than they should. Guys, when you see this happening, when you're really creeping and it looks like your stock price is turning on you and it's moving to the top, and all of a sudden you were here, you were at $84, and all of a sudden this runs up to $108, and you're saying, oh my God, I entered up here. I entered somewhere around $138. I got to 88 and now I'm at 108. I've lost so much money or given back so many gains. Well, I looked at this and said, well, I'm not giving anything back. I'm still below the 32% line. The trend is still with me. Remember, the trend is your friend. If you trust the trend, you are going to do very well. If you don't trust the trend, you're going to end up in this situation. Look, I trusted my trend. It stayed below 32%. Just because when red is over yellow, when you're going short, down here below 32%, it doesn't mean exit. It only means exit if you're in this sweet spot area. So if we got a reversal right there, I would have exited my shares. But that's not the case. So down here, you're going to wiggle. It's gonna wiggle over. Red and yellow line are always going to cross. I can show you a million examples of red and yellow crossing, but the trend is still down. So if my biggest takeaway from this video, if you're under 32% or over 80%, do not sell because red and yellow are crossing. That is not the point that you do it. So here is where the snapback occurred. It's just a little snapback, and then what happened? Boom, you went even lower than that $84 level. That is where the majority of traders struggle. They get freaked out right here. They don't trust their trend. All of a sudden this happens and they go, well, how did that happen? Well, you didn't trust your trend. It told you that it was going to come back down. You just didn't have the patience or the emotional fortitude to sit and wait. So after we get this out of the way, what's the exit point? Well, the exit point is here. When red crosses over yellow. So when red crosses over the 32% line. So you start to creep. And for those of you that are a little bit more advanced, you would be able to see something here. You would be able to see that this separation was occurring. You had a little bit of separation here as it was creeping up towards the 32% line. Yes, you had separation over here, but it wasn't the same level of separation. This is, believe it or not, I know to the novice eye, you're seeing this and saying, this and this look exactly the same to me. They really don't. You started getting crazy separation here, much higher. This is where you're at 13. You were all the way down here at about 5, down here where your separation started. So this told me that it was going to be a little bit more powerful. It was more than double the amount of power driving forward. Plus, if we come over here, you saw that, what do we notice? Right through here. What do we notice about those candles? You're right around the 100-day moving average. You're getting really sucked up to that 100-day moving average. So it's playing a role of a big magnet. So let's go back and let's come over here. Novice people, you would just very simply, wait until this crosses, exit. Yes, you're going to give back some gains, more than you were at that $84 level, but you trusted the trend. And trust me, as you get more experience, you'll be exiting somewhere down in here, somewhere right around here. Guys, remember, the whole point of trading is to give yourself the highest probability to make money. Sometimes these snapbacks are going to go, and they're going to go, and this could have been up here before that trend reverse, and you're going to give a lot of money back. But if you trust the trend over and over and over, you're going to be in a better place. So one-off examples of things that are working and not working are great for teaching purposes. But it's very important that you keep that repetition and do the same thing over and over. You will be in a much better spot 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now if you do that. So a cool story about this trade. This was actually one of my students that found this trade for me. That's the great thing about this whole community. There are so many trades that get pulled up. There was a Tesla trade that I did last week. So many of these are brought to me by students or other community members. And that is the beauty of the trading community. Guys, I have a Patreon right now. It's $25, very limited number of spots. So join now. It's $25 for life. But join and see and talk to these other traders. We bounce ideas off of each other all the time. There's a couple of trades that are coming in right now that I'm seeing on my app. And I'm saying, okay, maybe this is something. They were sent to me from the community. I also go live multiple times per week. Plus, you get complete access to me through the Patreon app anytime that you need it. So I spoke about that Tesla trade. If you want to see that trade that I recently made, go watch this video right here. You're going to love it.